Welcome to Darkened Files, where the shadows speak. We uncover the untold stories behind domestic violence and brutal crimes, exposing the chilling truths hidden in plain sight. Real cases, real voices, no sugarcoating. If you're ready to step inside the darkest corners of reality, you're in the right place.
New charges today in the murder of a Ferguson man who reported the rape of his own daughter. 3 family members stand indicted for the murder of Kareem Warren, who was gunned down after refusing a bribe to drop charges in a sexual assault case. Our Megan Kernan is live outside the Ferguson Police Department, where prosecutors announced indictments just hours ago.
Kareem Warren's best friend tells me he was the best person on earth and a great father. His family still hasn't come back home since the killing. And these 3 men are now charged, accused of working together to silence that father, murdering him, and then murdering their own hitman.
What does it cost to protect your child? For Kareem Warren, it cost everything. His teenage daughter told him she had been raped. He did what a lot of folks are scared to do. He went to the police. They offered him $12,000 to drop the case. He said no. Days later, 5 bullets tore through his front door. His children watched him fall. This was not just a killing. This was a warning. And what followed, well, you weren't ready. Before the headlines, before the courtroom, before his name was tied to one of Ferguson's worst cases, Kareem Warren was ordinary. He worked. He kept his yard tidy. He took care of his kids. He wasn't trying to be famous. He didn't want trouble. He just wanted to live and protect his family. That was it. Late spring, 2025, everything changed. His daughter told him she had been sexually assaulted, not by a stranger, by someone they knew and trusted, a man named Lever Harmon. Now, this is what usually happens. Most families hesitate. The numbers don't lie. Folks fear backlash. They worry nobody will believe them. They worry what speaking up will do. Many never report at all. But Kareem didn't hesitate. He walked into the Ferguson Police Department and filed a report. He gave a clear, detailed statement about what his daughter said. He made it plain. This had to be taken seriously. The case went to the Special Victims Unit. Not long after, Harmon was charged statutory rape, multiple counts of sodomy. The system started moving because of Warren. Anyone who's been through this knows how draining it is. Police interviews, depositions, court filings, medical exams, all the grind it takes to make the system care about one child. Warren didn't back down. Friends say he stayed steady, quiet but firm. He'd finish a work shift, then go straight to appointments with detectives and victim advocates. When his daughter had to show up for hearings, he sat in the front row. Still, people saw changes. He got cautious. A neighbor said he checked his locks twice before bed. Another said he got strange calls, people asking about the case who had no right to know. Then the offer came. This is where it gets real. Court records show Harmon's uncle, Anthony L. Young, and cousin, Anthony D. Young, came to Warren with a deal. They put $12,000 in front of him. Take the cash. Withdraw your daughter's statement. Stop helping the prosecutors. Make it disappear. $12,000 can mean a lot in a working-class neighborhood. It could wipe out bills. It could help. But to Warren, it was an insult. He said no. He told a friend later, "I can't put a price on my child's pain." Imagine being that person. Imagine looking at $12,000 and saying no because your and never, your daughter's truth matters more. That was Kareem Warren, period. After he refused, everything changed. Investigators say that refusal turned threats into something darker. When the bribe failed, the plan shifted. In the days before the 8th of July, 2025, cell records later showed Harmon and both Youngs in constant contact. They were also talking to another man, Andrew Klaus. Klaus had a violent past and was known to police. Prosecutors say he agreed to do what the others wouldn't risk. He would handle the problem. He would silence the father who wouldn't be bought. To neighbors, Warren's house looked normal. Kids played in the yard. He washed his car. Porch lights burned at night. On the surface, everything was fine. But under that calm, something deadly was closing in. It's a pattern investigators see too often. Threats start as whispers. A bribe becomes a demand. A demand turns into a plan. In early July, Warren told a friend he was ready to get through the court process and move on. He believed the system would protect him. He trusted the process. The system wasn't ready for how far his daughter's abuser and his family would go. On the evening of July 7, the night before the shooting, Warren talked to a relative. They planned the weekend, maybe a cookout. There was no fear in his voice. If danger was coming, he didn't show it. The next night, everything broke. Gunfire cut through the humid Missouri air. 5 rounds through the front door glass. A man who stood up for his child was hit. By the time police arrived, Kareem Warren was dead. The evening on Lang Drive in Ferguson was still and heavy on July 8, 2025. Streetlights cast that tired yellow. Neighbors settled into summer. Inside, Kareem was with his children, the same house where weeks before he had decided to see justice through. Shortly before 9, the promise ended. Glass blew inward under a burst of bullets. Neighbors told police they heard shots in quick succession. Neighbor Hugh Deli was home the day Warren was killed.
Next thing I know, I heard about 4 or 5 gunshots. And then I seen them running across my yard into a car, and they took off. They tried to revive him, and his kids were out there crying.
First responders found Warren collapsed near the entry. He'd been struck many times. His children were inside. They watched their father fall. The storm door was full of holes. Glass scattered across the living room. Nothing was stolen. No drawers opened. No sign of a struggle. Whoever came knew exactly who they wanted and why. Detectives found 40 caliber shell casings on the walkway and near the steps. Every round went through the same pane. The tight grouping told investigators the shooter didn't panic. They were deliberate. This wasn't random. This was execution. Neighbors saw figures running through yards into the dark toward a waiting car. One person said the car was a gray sedan. That detail would matter. Surveillance from a nearby gas station caught a similar car heading toward Lang Drive minutes before the shooting, then speeding off after. The plate was partly visible. Investigators ran it and traced it to Andrew Klaus, a man already known to police for violence and weapons charges. By morning, police had linked that gray car, the shell casings, and cell data that placed Klaus near Warren's house at the time of the shooting. But listen, the story didn't end there. Not even close. Hours after Warren was killed, another call came to the St. Louis police. A burning car on a side street. Officers found a man inside, shot to death. The victim was Andrew Klaus. Let that sink in. The man who killed Kareem Warren was dead himself. The second scene told investigators a lot. The man who silenced Warren had been silenced. Pieces of a handgun grip were found in the charred wreck. Residue from the car matched the same caliber ammo used at Warren's home.
On July 8th of this year, Corey Warren was shot and killed by Andrew Klaus at his home in Ferguson, Missouri. Andrew Klaus was later killed that same day.
So now we've got 2 murders hours apart, clearly connected. The digital trail was there. Detectives followed breadcrumbs backward. Phone calls between Lever Harmon, Anthony L. Young, Anthony D. Young, and Klaus, all in the days and hours before both shootings. Patterns emerged. Short messages, location pings moving together, devices switching off minutes before the attacks, then powering back on miles away. The timeline prosecutors later showed was chilling in its simplicity. Harmon, already charged with raping Warren's daughter, wanted the witness gone. His relatives, the Youngs, arranged logistics and money. Klaus was brought in to pull the trigger for a promised payment. It ended with his death before the night was over, his car torched to hide evidence. For the Warren family, there was no warning, no time to get ready. The man who refused $12,000, who trusted the courts, was gone in seconds. His children stood in the doorway where he made his last stand for truth. In the days after, that quiet block became a corridor of flashing lights and unmarked cars. Detectives sifted through broken glass and bullet paths, rebuilding every second. Everything pointed one way: intent. Nothing about this was random. When the story hit local news, the city reacted in shock.
It was a tragic and probably one of the most senseless acts of violence that our region have seen this year.
Neighbors talked about a man who was devoted to his children, the kind of person who'd offer help without being asked. Warren's neighbors remember him as a devoted dad and friend. You know, a person was trying to do right and they killed him for it. So they should have to pay too. That's the kind of man he was, to the community. Warren's death was more than a tragedy. It was a statement about what happens when good people refuse to bow to fear, when they refuse to bow to corruption. But the killers didn't see this coming. Every move they made to cover up the crime only exposed it more. Forensic teams started weaving the threads, connecting Harmon, Anthony L. Young, and Anthony D. Young to the same routes Claus had traveled that night. Cell towers lit up their movements. Their phones went dark at the same time. When they powered back on, the pings placed them miles away, near the rural spot where Claus's burning car was found. Surveillance showed a car registered to the Young family, tailing Claus's sedan through an intersection just before the first shots rang out on Long Drive. Too precise to be chance. Every man was in contact that night. Messages grew shorter, more cryptic. Words like done, handled, quiet. Warren's name wasn't said, but the timing matched every event. Then there was the money. In early July, nearly $12,000 was pulled from accounts linked to the Youngs, small withdrawals broken up to avoid detection. The same amount Warren had been offered to drop the case. After the murder, the cash stopped moving. The accounts went silent. One of the Youngs' vehicles drew extra eyes. Plates removed. VIN numbers ground down. Inside the trunk, investigators found traces of fuel, melted plastic, chemical fingerprints matching the accelerant used in Claus's destroyed car. The evidence formed a chain, straight back to Harmon's circle. The prosecution's theory was cold, grim, precise. Harmon's life was collapsing. If the case went to trial, he turned to his relatives. They brought in Claus to do the shooting. Payment promised once it was done. When Warren was dead, those same men killed Claus to erase the last witness. Then they burned the car to bury the weapon. By early October, detectives had everything. Hundreds of pages, interviews, phone logs, surveillance footage, autopsy results, forensic analysis. Every strand pointed the same way. Deliberate planning. October 29, 2025. Almost 4 months later, St. Louis County Justice Center packed with reporters, cameras, family, waiting for answers they thought would never come. A clerk's voice echoed in the chamber. 3 names read aloud. Lever Harmon, Anthony L. Young, Anthony D. Young, blood relatives. And prosecutors said, bound together by a plan to silence a father. The indictments were precise. Cold law. First 6 charges are 2 counts of murder in the first degree, 2 counts of armed criminal action, 1 count of knowingly exploding or burning, and 1 count of tampering with physical evidence. Investigators say this stems from an attempt to bribe Warren to drop charges in a criminal case where Lavore Harmon was accused of sexually assaulting Corey's daughter. Outside, Ferguson Police Chief Troy Doyle addressed the press. Words deliberate, heavy.
Yeah, obviously, think about it. Someone experiencing something like that, this is tragedy. The mere fact that we're sitting here having this conversation about it, we all have kids, we all have relatives. To go through something like that and experience like that is horrible. But
Kareem Warren, the father who reported the rape of his daughter. Andrew Claus, the man investigators believe was hired to kill him, then killed himself to tie up loose ends. For the first time since that July night, the full story of that quiet Ferguson block was laid out in court. Not speculation, evidence, affidavits, shell casings, burned car remains, cell tower records. A story of intimidation that ended with 2 deaths, each accused held on $2 million bond. Harmon booked into St. Louis County Jail. The Youngs, already in federal custody on unrelated charges, transferred under detainer. Attorneys silent. Prosecutors said the murder for hire charge hadn't been filed yet. Could be. Investigation still active. For Warren's friends and neighbors, indictments were validation and pain. 3 months waiting for names, charges, a sign that the system saw what was taken. Hearing them read brought first taste of justice, but reopened wounds too. Across the street, a small crowd held candles, whispered his name, Kareem Warren, afraid to say it too loud. One sign read, "A father who did the right thing." The courtroom was brief but heavy. Prosecutors showed the conspiracy's shape. Harmon, desperate, turned to family. The Youngs coordinated bribe, then hit. Claus pulled the trigger, then eliminated. The evidence was overwhelming. Digital footprints, money trails, surveillance footage, witness accounts, forensic proof. All pointed one way. Defense said little. Accused maintained innocence. But the weight of evidence filled the room like its own presence. Prosecutors said the trial could take years. For the family, the sentence began long before the courtroom. Every day lived with echoes, glass shattering, the questions of what could have been, and still, pride. Pride that their father stood firm when fear came calling. By November 2025, Ferguson carried the weight of that long drive block. Porch lights burned longer through the night. Families started locking doors they once left open. Answers came, but the air of loss stayed. At the center, a man most hadn't known by name until he was gone, Kareem Warren. Not a politician, not a public figure. A father who believed truth mattered. Doing right, no matter the cost, was the only way to protect his child. He walked into Ferguson PD that day, reporting his daughter's rape, unaware it would cost his life. But he did it anyway. The charges filed against Harmon and the Youngs read like a roadmap of betrayal. Prosecutors say Harmon tried to erase accountability with money, then violence. Bribe failed, plan became murder. When murder was done, hitman erased. That July night revealed not just cruelty, but courage. Warren could have taken the cash, looked the other way, chosen safety. He didn't. He chose principle, his daughter's voice over his own life. That refusal became the hinge that exposed everyone responsible. Weeks after indictments, reporters revisited his story. Neighbors remembered him fixing cars. Co-workers called him reliable, kind. Every account the same. A man with no drama, no attention seeking, who loved his children more than anything. Churches held vigils. Parents went to safety meetings. Counselors offered support to victims, afraid to come forward. The case mirrored how fragile justice feels under intimidation. For detectives, Warren's murder reminded them why witness protection exists. Fear can destroy trust in institutions meant to protect the innocent. Solving the crime wouldn't bring back what was lost. But it reaffirmed something bigger. Silence, no matter how violently enforced, cannot win. The trial is coming. Defendants claim innocence. Courts will decide guilt. But Kareem's story already looms larger than the crime. A father who refused to trade integrity for safety, who believed his daughter deserved justice, who held that belief until his last breath. Pass his home today, reminders everywhere. Repaired door, candle wax, hand-drawn notes from children. One reads, "Thank you for being brave." His courage lit a place built on secrecy. It showed the cost of truth in a world where doing right makes you a target. It showed conviction, once spoken, cannot be erased by violence. A killing meant to bury the truth instead immortalized it. The cover-up failed. The silence became a testament. For Ferguson, for the courts, for every parent facing the impossible choice between safety and justice. His name carries weight now. Justice, fragile, is worth every risk. Kareem Warren stood for his daughter. He refused to be bought, refused to be silenced. In the end, his story didn't die with him. It lives in the charges filed, in the community that remembers, in every person who hears his name and knows what it means to choose courage over fear. That is his legacy. That is what they couldn't kill. That is what remains. Period.